I'm Wardy. Hello, welcome to the A Year of Rain Undead Champs. This is a brand new RTS, and I'm really excited to kind of dive into this, figure it out with you guys and everything. I've been doing my research on the way the game plays, and hopefully I'm going to do a good job of telling you guys what's up, what's happening, the sort of things you should watch out for, how the game plays, and stuff like that. I'm super excited. So this is going to be a tournament that takes place over the next 6 weeks online. So we have a matchup every single Wednesday at this time between the four teams. Berliner Esports Club, which features Eon Blue and Holy Hit. If you guys are StarCraft fans, you'll definitely know Eon Blue and Holy Hit. Second team is TK Esports, which is Hate Me and Cube, which are another couple of players from StarCraft 2. Hate Me is very well known. Let me turn the music down. It is a little bit loud in here, isn't it? You know, when I was testing earlier, the music was like super quiet. So something just changed when I opened the game again. So sorry for that. So yes, Hate Me and Cube going to be TK Esports. They're going to be the two teams playing tonight up against each other in a best-of-3 series. And then in the other matches, we have Harpy. I'm going to get to learn how to pronounce their names. That wasn't in my prep work for this week because they're not playing. Who are actually a metal band who play music, which is obviously awesome. And Team Underdog featuring Death Mike and Udwin going to be playing as well. They start off next week, so they're going to be next week again. Tonight is Berliner Esports versus TKA Esports, Eon Blue and Holy Hit versus Hate Me and Cube. So, it should be ready to start up in a few moments' time, actually. There's a lot of very exciting stuff going on here. First of all, I want to say thank you very much to TakeTV for the raid, and Loco coming in with the raid as well. So thank you so much for that, as we are setting up our very first lobby, by the way. So we're getting this started, and we're getting this rolling, hopefully in, again, just a few moments. Again, I'm super excited to show this to you guys and to show you guys what's going on, kind of how this game works, how there's just a whole new RTS, and there's so much to dive into. Just yesterday, the Undead race got added, so this game has been shown to the public once, and that was at the Wacken Festival in Germany. Today is the second ever time this game is visible for anybody, and so that's obviously super awesome. And it's the first ever time the Undead race will be seen. Now, I was playing around with the Undead race a little bit earlier on today, and I have to say, I love it. You know, if I have to go between the two races that are out, which is House Rupar, who are kind of like the humans, and the Undead, right now I love the Undead. But it'll be interesting to see if people do use this, because while they've been practicing, the Undead race has only been out a day. Now, I was told that somebody's going to be playing Undead, so we'll get into that in a few moments' time. As we will start off on a map called Echo Glades. Again, thank you so much, Loco, for the raid as well. He did me a favor. I don't usually go messaging people and asking for some hosts and stuff, but Loco, my man, hit me up today, so I do appreciate that. Again, really excited to get this started off in a few moments. Is this a hashtag ad? No, it's not an ad. I mean, I was hired to cast the tournament, so it's not really a sponsored stream. This is put on by Daedalic. They've hired me, so I wouldn't say classifies as an ad. So, yeah. We also had a couple of resubs and stuff coming on. I'm not going to lie, guys, I don't have the resub stuff and so on set up, so we're going to be not talking much about that. We're going to be talking thoroughly on the game, but if you do resub or any sort of support, I will actually get around to that at the end of the stream when the matches wrap up. So we do have our players joining in, and I believe we're actually just allowed to start here in the next few moments. So I'm just going to double check the Discord server. And it looks as though we're going to have a double... both players playing. Ooh, actually, a lot of players picking up and they're all swapping around their races and their heroes at the moment. So, I guess I'll give you a little bit of a rundown on the game just before we jump in. Okay, let me tell the players 2 minutes. Okay, so I'm just gonna give you a very quick rundown. So, like I said, there's currently 2 races in the game. It has a very Warcrafty feel rather than, say, a StarCraft 2 feel. And when you start the game, you can pick between the 2 races, and each race has currently 3 heroes, champions to choose from. That hero can be leveled up throughout the game, and that hero can then go on to use very powerful spells. They're going to be the core of your army with supporting units along the way. So how you choose to play and which characters you choose obviously dictate a lot of how you go, but also at the very start of the game, when you get in, you're asked to play tank, DPS, or support. And for human, tanks get more health, support does more healing, and damage does more damage, basically. It's pretty basic. And that means that your units are sort of revolving around that role you pick to play. Whereas for the undead, there's also those effects, but they're a little bit different. The tank actually has health regeneration, DPS has a damage over time effect, and the support actually gets slows rather than more healing. So there's a lot of different bits and pieces going on. So, yeah, it should be very cool. We're about to jump into our very first game. So this is obviously my first time casting this. I'm gonna, I'm setting the precedent here. I'm setting this. It's down to me. I get to choose how people cast this for the rest of the time. Okay, not really. Our players are ready. Just going to double check that once again. They are all in the lobby. So as long as that is good, we've got Holy Hit, Hate Me, Eon Blue, and Cube readying up. We're going to start this game, and we're going to kick this off. Your first ever look at a Year of Rain involving the undead races. And away we go. So I've just got to click a couple of things here to get this off my screen. Perfect. So we are starting off down to the bottom left-hand side. Playing Undead, this is going to be Holy Hit for Berlin Esports. Now, right off the bat here, you'll notice a bunch of workers popping out with timers on. The Undead race has essentially, if you come from StarCraft, a mule mechanic where you can spawn some zombies every so often to either mine for you or to defend your base. So that's what you see here from Holy Hit right from the start. As let's have a look at what hero he's going to be playing today. He is going to be playing DPS, I believe, so playing that damage. And he is going to be... We'll see that as it sets up in the next few moments. I'm not so used to the undead character portraits just yet. As we have Eon Blue down on the bottom left-hand side, he's going to be playing the Spark Mage, who is kind of like a magic user. She is going to be firing fireballs and all sorts of stuff like that. So Eon Blue playing the human race, the House Rupar, down in the bottom left. So they take the bottom left-hand side. As in the bottom right-hand side, we have Cube representing TK Esports. And he is going to be playing the Undead as well. In fact, both the Undead players are going to be playing the same character here. As we get this starting up in a few seconds' time, the heroes will spawn. Hate Me is going to be playing the Paladin. So the Paladin has some heals as well as some AoE damage. They can do a lot of charging in and some effects along those lines. So that is what's going on here as our first units will take to the stage over the next couple of moments. It looks like these are the Wraiths. Okay, I couldn't just quite make it out from those little pictures. This is the Wraith character. These are also magic users. So both players are playing a Wraith, and both of them are then playing different human-based characters. We see the early creeping starting up. Holy Hit moving out over on this left-hand side and starting to pick up a few of these creeps over here. So obviously we're building up workers, and we've got the mine over here where you can mine resources, mine gold, and you can also mine the wood as well, which is where the workers are currently being sent to. Holy Hit has a desecrated battleground down and no other buildings just yet. The desecrated battleground is your basic, unit producing structure over here. This is the barracks here from Eon Blue, so also pretty standard. And the Elven Enclave is kind of your next step of the barracks here, which is basically going to allow you to not just get melee units out, but also some range units. As both of the players here from Eon Blue, this is a fire elemental, and that's one of the abilities of the Spark Mage. You can conjure the fire elemental here, and we'll go through the abilities of these characters as the game progresses. I just want to point out that already you see, Holy Hit comes, up this side and Eon Blue's down the bottom, whereas the two players from TKA Esports are going to be cleaning up creeps together. So that is what is currently going on as experience shared between the two of them if you split up or not. So it kind of comes down to, you can see here, Eon Blue is kind of hurting, as Holy Hit not so much. He's got these right. Oh my god, I can't say my W's. White's going to be on his side, already helping out and doing a lot of the tanking. So yeah, there's a little bit of back and forth here as we get into it, and we do get started up. We see a few of the spearmen from Hate Me coming up to the top side of the map, and they're going to go after actually the big creep pack up on the top. And as we see the first little Death Blossom coming down, it's what I like to call it. It's called a Horror Decay, actually. It's a seed that explodes after a little bit of time, and it pops into some damage over time, an ability from the Wraith. So I'm just going to quickly run down the abilities of each of the characters the players are using in this game, so we have a bit of an idea as to how things are going on and what they can use throughout the game. As currently, a lot of spearmen from the right-hand side. But yes, let's run down these characters. So again, we have the Spark Mage here. Here's again this kind of fire caster character. If we just check on heroes, we don't get to see what they've actually teched into um, in terms of early choices here just yet. So we'll keep an eye on that as the game goes on and see what they're using. We obviously saw the Conjure Elemental already used. That's one of the abilities on this Spark Mage. The other is a pretty typical Fireball, which actually just like an AoE spell. There's an ability called Fiery Chains, which will root your opponents down in position. And we also have the ultimate, which is the kind of the best ability possible that can only be gotten at level 6, which is a vortex called Ember Storm. And it pulls enemies in towards you, or in towards the vortex wherever you place it, and obviously deals damage over time as well. The Wraith, which is on both sides here, from the undead side of this things, they have the Horrid Decay, which is a seed you plant down and it pops after a couple of seconds. They have Death Blossom, which is damage in a line. This is where I was getting the Death Blossom name of before. So it's an ability you cast in a line, and if it hits a seed, it creates the damage over time. It pops that Horrid Decay for even more damage. So this is what I mean. There's a lot of interaction between abilities here for the undead. They also have a fear effect, so if you've played World of Warcraft or so in the past, it's a fear which kind of causes nearby enemies to run away in different directions around. And we do have also the ultimate on the Wraiths is Pallid Garden, which is a channel, and it empowers your next attack to do that much more damage, so or to extend the length of the fear, etc., etc. Tell you what, gotta say just before we go into the Paladin's abilities very quickly, there's a lot of units up right here for Hate Me. A lot of these spearmen are just very standard units, very simple units early in the game. And these are some flame skulls, which are on the undead side. So the early choices here, pretty interesting. I'm very interested to see how that continues to play out, because it feels like they've got a lot more units than, say, our players on the bottom left-hand side, who are actually, I mean, this is a pretty fast expansion. Holy Hit already moving towards another mine over here. The expansion over here from Cube is on the way up, but that little bit later. So Holy Hit is working with more money or more income. A lot of desecrated battlegrounds, and the Arcane Nexus up as well here is going to be the next kind of tech part of the tech tree, which unlocks the flame skulls, which we see over here already. Cube has some of these flame skulls, so that's obviously pretty exciting. We're going to be seeing some flame skull and flame skull action. That's just the Conjured Elemental, by the way, as well, which is maybe looking to take the Vision, the Observatory, in the center. Very quickly, I just want to run down the Paladin's abilities, because that's the one character we haven't talked about just yet. And the Paladin is on the side of TKA Esports, currently down in the bottom right, actually. I might have actually died then. I might have just missed that as I go through abilities. But the Paladin has a Lay on Hands, so a heal, and reduces damage taken on the target for a little while. An ability called Fear No Darkness, which can shield and concentrate shields the Paladin and concentrates damage in an area to the Paladin. So essentially makes the Paladin a very tanky character here. And then we have Dawnblade, which is a charge attack, which then cleaves and slows units which you charge into. And the ultimate for the Paladin is called Night's End, which is basically a big AoE which protects units over space. So the Paladin definitely a very tanky character here. We take a quick look at the supplies. Holy Hit and Eon Blue, 33, 32 supply each. Cube definitely with more supply at the moment, and just has a lot of these little flame skulls walking around the map. In terms of production, it's pretty similar between the two undead players. Really, just Hate Me not really teching up that much is the big difference so far, as we do see a bit of a fight breaking out with some creeps over here. If we look at the levels at the moment between the two players, or the two teams, we have level 5 over on TK Esports, while it's only level 3 currently out of Berlin Esports. So there is definitely a lot more abilities at use, and a lot more powerful abilities at use. So definitely some better creeping being done on the right-hand side of the map so far. So that's currently what's going on as we see continued production. Let's have just a quick look what the players are going for as well. I'm still familiarizing myself with a lot of this setup, a lot of these images. So you'll have to forgive me if I have to go double check every now and then. So it is just desecrated battlegrounds and an arcane nexus, so not too much tech here. On the right hand side of the map, over we've got a barracks and just double barracks, so it's very low tech actually altogether. So Cube and Hate Me are very low tech in terms of the units they can build, but it's working out because they're just using their kind of massive units to take down creeps around the map, and they're going to take down the center of the map here just like that. So that's obviously a nice little pick-off as well, as the players are going to be able to... Well, unfortunately, Hate Me actually does get knocked down there. And the Hate Me dying a couple of times means he's missing out on some experience, which is a little bit of a shame. Again, he's just dying off to these creeps, as it looks as though Holy Hit and, of course, Eon Blue are both pulling back down to the bottom left-hand side. Again, if we have a look at the bases of Eon Blue here and Holyhead, Holyhead also only has an Arcane Nexus up, so the tech level is the same. They did have that faster expansion, so Holyhead does have more of the basic production structures available to him already, as he just continues to build up Flame Skulls at the moment here. And the Flame Skulls have some interesting abilities to talk about as well in the next few moments. We'll get to that. So we do see continued tech here out of Eon Blue. The stables is up, and that means he can start building up these knights. Now, what is very important to know is the different ways in which damages and types of damage and armor impact each of the players here. So, as Cube sits up on this high ground and is going to drop a seed and throw that ability, the Death Blossom, down. Look at that damage over time. He hits the workers and they just pull away. Good reaction from Holyhead. If he'd left them there, they would have died. That's a nice little abuse of the high ground there from Cube. A good little bit of harassment as we see our first real interactions between the players. You have to forgive me. We'll have to talk about the way the damage works between units in just a little bit because we might have a bit of a fight going on here. Cube is not quite at level 6 yet, so doesn't have access to the Pallid Guard and that ability which lets him empower his attack. Hatemi coming over, only has a couple of spearmen left. If we actually look at the units on the map, Hatemi has quite a lot of spearmen that just aren't here right now. So that's still something to be seen. Actually, very interesting different worker counts here. Hatemi's only on 10 workers, while Eon Blue is up on 20. By the way, this next attack did clean out a bunch of units there. So a lot of workers going down for Holyhead. Drops them down to 8 workers. And Cube is working on 16 workers as well. So there is a difference in economies here. Obviously, Eon Blue mining that much more, and that definitely is reflected when it comes to, looking on the other side of the map. Hatemi is still only on, 2 bases and 2 barracks. He is still on these basic structures. And that's also a bit of a problem because on the barracks, you actually do miss out on certain upgrades, which is a little bit of a shame. You don't miss out on them just by having the barracks, but a lot of the upgrades come off of the Temple or the Elven Conclave. So as for these Spearmen in particular, you're looking at the Elven Conclave for some upgrades, and that is something which we just do not see out of Hatemi. Whereas, Eon Blue did get the Elven Conclave. It's needed to move in towards the stables, which he's then got for the Knights. And that means the Knights can also be upgraded as well. There's obviously upgrades. There's a lot of them to talk about. Just to quickly mention some that might be very applicable in this game. Well, first of all, so Volatile Magic is one of the upgrades for these Flame Skulls, which is means the Flame Skulls explode when they die. And they also have Anorium Infusion, so that is also an upgrade that basically when you trigger it, it means that those Flame Skulls deal more damage and take more damage for a small period of time. So that is definitely something worth keeping in mind there as well. The Spearmen can get an upgrade off of the Elven Conclave, which is going to reduce the damage they take from ranged attacks, although there's not a lot of ranged units on the map here. I guess the Flame Skulls from Holyhead would be the one thing that would be nice to see something to kind of help with that, but obviously we don't see an Elven Conclave from Hatemi, so he doesn't have that upgrade anyways. Still just have Cube really trying to get forwards here and maybe looking to pick off an expansion at the moment. We have, if we're looking at a lot of these Flame Skulls, these are kind of ranged characters. They have a pierce attack, so like I was just mentioning before, as we have a few moments where not much else is happening, the pierce attack is very important to kind of keep in mind, and the way the attacks work. So the three different attacks are magic, normal, and pierce. So pierce is very effective against there's also 3 different types of armor. So pierce is very effective against light armor, but not very effective against heavy armor. Right now, these Flame Skulls are medium armor, and actually we do have Eon Blue coming through with the normal attacking Knights, which is powerful against the medium armor, which should be good against these Flame Skulls if he can get forwards and take a fight here. We have a lot of units positioning out in the middle, and we are just perhaps looking towards a fight in the next couple of moments. Cube still not quite on that level 6 just yet, as we do see him pulling away over to the right-hand side up on the top. Holyhead. Looks like both players are both teams are quite happy to just get away there. Holyhead going into even further upgrades, so getting he doesn't actually have, I believe that's the Volatile Magic upgrade, which he's currently investing into, so he doesn't have the Flame Skulls exploding when they die just yet, so that's something he's still looking towards. Cube also going in towards another upgrade. This one is the Umbral Consumption, which increases the damage over time effect of the Flame Skulls, so that's an upgrade he can get because he chose to play the damage early on. The damage kind of character. We mentioned there's 3 different roles you can pick when the game starts up. So yeah, the DPS being played on both sides there, and it is going to be the tank being played on Eon Blue, and I believe it's also tank being played by Hatemi as well. So they're both playing tank DPS in this game, as we do just have a lot of position at the moment in the center of the map. There's a few units pulling back away down the bottom right-hand side. We actually have Eon Blue with a little bit of a harassment here with these Knights. So again, Knights are normal attacks with heavy armor. So when they go up against normal heavy of their opponents, there isn't really any bonuses in play. What really is going to be effective is Knights against the Flame Skulls. If the Knights get on top of those, the bonus damage they deal will be very effective, and the Knights will not do very much damage against the heavy the Flame Skulls won't do very much damage against the heavy armored Knights either. And as we do see, it's now Berlin Esports. You're making a play down to the bottom side. And we're seeing the first cast coming off here. We're going to be seeing abilities going off all over the place. The Horror Decay going off as well was quite nice to the bottom side. Now we got Horror Decay to the top. The Knights are starting to close in on these Flame Skulls. But remember, those Flame Skulls are liable to explode, so the Knights have to be a bit careful of that as they start to get damaged. A couple of Spearmen from Hate Me trying to tank in the front and also doing a good job eating up some damage on that top side. Cube hits level 6 doing all of this, now level 7. Ultimates are coming into play as Holy Hit has just used his charge up to make his next attack more effective. Oh my god, there we go. Big fiery vortex coming in. That's from Eon Blue as he gets a lot of AoE going on. The big fear coming out of Cube to try and get these units away, but he has been taken down to very low units. Hate Me is already being killed. His champion went down during this fight, and now Cube is backed into a corner as Holy Hit and Eon Blue are going to continue chasing, and they have units to spare as well as they push into the base, and Hate Me's base is going to be in some trouble. His hero just pops out once again. The Paladin going to try and defend here, but it's going to be very difficult. The Paladin will go down, and now obviously the Wraith is looking to be in some trouble as well. There's another Horror Decay dropping down from Cube as he tries to hold this at bay, but it looks as though the players are out of there, and it is going to be Berlin Esports taking map number 1, able to take that fight, and that's going to be them able to take this. So, there we go, we have it. Our first game taken by Berlin Esports in this best of 3, as we're going to be getting ready for game 2 in a few moments' time. So, I just want to talk about a couple of things that we maybe didn't see a lot of in this game that will take a lot of practice and a lot of nuancing to figure out where it's going to end up. Because you're going to have to excuse the music for a moment until I can turn it down again. There's a lot that you kind of would expect to see that you don't see yet because the players are still very much so getting used to the games, etc. And that is the fact that, you know, we didn't see a lot of scouting, for example. You know, I feel like Eon Blue was very good at trying to get the elemental on top of the watchtower and was very good at identifying, oh, hey, you know, they're going Flame Skulls, and a lot of them, Eon Blue built up into those Knights, and the Knights, again, like I said, they do so well against those Flame Skulls because of the type advantage of the armor of the attacks. So that obviously goes a long way to help out as well. Let me just very quickly check my settings here, guys. Just want to make sure everything is where I left it again. Perfect. And we're going to set up into game number 2 in a moment. So that's definitely something to check out. And yeah, scouting is going to be very important because it is a game where there are definitely counters in play. You know, Knights have heavy armor, so maybe the play would have been from TK Esports against those Knights to get some magic users up. If you tech in towards a set of buildings we didn't see the library and we didn't see the floating gardens. Those come off of the temple, and the temple actually is kind of the other side of the tech. So when you get to your barracks, you can go either Elven Conclave or Temple. So when you go, you know, we saw Hate Me go Elven Conclave to Stables. When you see those Knights, maybe we should have seen Hate Me throwing down a Temple and in towards, again, like a library or Floating Gardens. There's a lot of casters available in there. The Floating Gardens gives you access to what I would describe, if you're StarCraft fans, as High Templars almost. They have like a big storm ability, they're magic users. And that was what was really missing there, because there was nothing that was really great against Knights. And yeah, like, there just wasn't. I mean, on the other side, you could argue the Spearmen were kind of the right typing to fight the Flame Skulls on the other side. But you're talking about Spearmen, which are essentially like tier 1 units, versus Knights, which are like a higher tech tree above, because you have to go into 2 more tech structures before you can get Knights on the map. It very much so felt as though Hate Me and Cube should have maybe been more aggressive with the style they were playing. You know, they were in this position where very early on they had a lot of units. They didn't really tech up very much. They just played a lot of low-level, low-tech units. especially Hate Me, just stuck on Spearman, built nothing else the entire game. And it was very, very... Again, to not really try and take advantage of that, I think, is the big part of this, right? They didn't go to attack. They creeped a lot, which made a lot of sense to, maybe stay low tech, creep a lot, get level advantage. But then maybe you need to go and fight a little bit. Then you need to engage a little bit, perhaps, and try and push that advantage and punish the fact that we had players from Berlin Esports, Eon Blue especially, teching up so much further. So, yeah, that's what was going on. We are going to host up the next game here in a few moments' time. You have to excuse me as I'm just... so let me just double check. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to put myself in the observers. In the next few moments' time, we'll get our players join the lobby and get ready to go into game number 2. We're going to change up the map for this second game, so it is going to be a bit of a different map to play on. Yeah, I'm very interested to see if we see any differences. I really intrigued to see, especially, is Hate Me going to be staying on that very low tech again? Are they going to get that level advantage and do something with it this time around? I'm also just trying to think very quickly if there is anything in particular that I didn't really cover. That was obviously the first time I cast this game, and I feel like I just literally threw information in your faces because I was just trying to explain everything that was going on, basically. If you do have any questions about the game, or if you've got any questions about how certain races work, or how certain characters work, or certain units, etc., you're more than welcome to ask away in the chat, guys. I'll take a minute or two now before we start this next game to answer any questions in the chat. So if you guys have anything to ask, maybe you don't know how the attacks are used, if you don't know how if you don't understand the typing of the attacks or the typing of the armor, for example, I'm very happy to cover that again, or the races, etc., stuff like that. How long have I been playing? I've had access to the game for a couple of weeks. Like I said, especially the Undead class, they came out yesterday. So, I'm not going to lie, my extent of seeing the Undead abilities being used is I watched the AI fight each other earlier. So, I was really kind of, when it comes to some of these fights, I'm still getting grips on some of these names of kind of characters and names of abilities and so on as well. So you just gotta bear with me a little bit of that. And obviously, this is also my first kind of time playing with the observer interface. So I'm also trying to learn a little bit about, moving through the different things I can show you in the top left and stuff like that. A couple of other questions. Let's go through. How many races exist at the moment? 2 at the moment, with 3 planned for development. So 3 in total. The Undead race, like I mentioned, just came out yesterday. So very cool to see players already playing the Undead. Is it always 2v2? It is designed to be always 2v2, yes. So at the moment, I believe it is. Obviously, there are going to be, for each race, there is then 3 heroes per race. So there's a lot of mixing and matching that you can do. Right, I don't see many other questions coming up in the chat, so I'm going to jump into the game. But I am actually, again, as I was just saying, very happy to answer any questions you guys may have when we come out of this next game. So do let me know if that is something you are. If you've got any questions, ask them at the end of the next game, basically, and we'll be all good to get going. Perfect. All right, let's go into this. So, let's get this started up. Our players are ready. We have the same setup from both sides once again. So both players are playing a Wraith on either side for the Undead, and also both players are playing a House Ripar human race with the Paladin on one side, and on the other side a Spark Mage. So in the top right-hand side, we have Hate Me and Cube, who are going to be playing the Paladin and the Wraith. So this is kind of nice that they're going to stick to the same characters for us, because it lets us see a little bit of the same characters, right? Rather than maybe seeing something a bit different. I will say, by the way, as we go into this map, it's much bigger. There's a lot more creep camps to be cleared out as well. Very interested to see how that's going to be turning out, as we do have Holy Hit and, of course, Eon Blue down in the bottom left corner to kick us off. So the heroes spawn after about a minute and a half so they will not be up just yet. And when they spawn, you have access to one of your 4 abilities right away, and you can choose which that is. So again, you can pick the first out of the first 3 abilities. You can't use your ultimate until level 6. So again, that's one of your choices as well. What do you tech into early on? How do you choose to develop your strat early game? As building up early, just the barracks, the desecrated battleground, these are your typical early game setups. Again, holy hit using these zombies, which are the workers, but you can again summon zombies from the main base, the mausoleum. And you can summon those zombies that last about 20 seconds, and then they drop down. So, that's worth mentioning. What actually happened there, I believe he had actually mined some of this wood, and then dropped it as those zombies expired. So I actually was playing around with the undead early, and I think the way to do this is after your first trip with those zombies that get summoned, it is best to then, once they've returned the first set of wood to the base, it's then best to just say, okay, you guys move away. Because otherwise they're going to die with the resources in their hands. Again, I'm going to throw in a StarCraft reference here. If you guys play StarCraft and you have a Terran mule, at the end of a mule's lifespan, you will generally stop the, bring the mule away so it doesn't lose the minerals as it mines back. As we are going to be seeing. Hate Me. So actually, Hate Me is playing the Spark Mage this time as well. Actually, so they're both going for the same characters this time, the same heroes, so apologies, there's no Paladin this game. Okay, so that is a bit of a difference to what we saw last time. Okay, very interesting here. Hate Me is going into some early Spearmen and some early Rights coming up here from Cube as well. Compared to the other side of the map, Eon Blue, a single Spearman, he went into the different ability as well on the early Spark Mage. He went into the, well, we saw the Fireball there from the Spark Mage of Hate Me, throwing down that Fireball to help creep. We have the Elemental used once again from Eon Blue to help him solo the camps. Camps which you might not otherwise be able to solo, and this allows both the players to go in different directions early, compared to these guys who are just looking to nuke down these, creeps as fast as possible. So that is what's currently going on over here. There's a lot of interactions as well, and stuff that we haven't seen yet, by the way. For example, there are abilities where, especially for the undead, there are abilities where you can revive units as they die. You can revive, if you kill something at a certain time for certain units, they revive a unit out of it, for example. So, for example, the Rights, they can get a life drain ability actually just off of this initial tech structure. And that life drain ability can... where is it? This one here. Yeah, this life drain ability can put you in a position where you're actually able to raise a skeleton out of a unit that dies, and that will fight for you for a few seconds. So obviously that can help and become, it's like very swarmy in a way, because if you start killing a lot of things, the next thing you know, you have a lot of skeletons on your side, and that obviously starts to go very tough very quickly. So again, we've got about a big difference in workers again. Eon Blue going up to 16 workers against the 10 of Hate Me. Holy Hit is a few workers behind the workers of Cube at the moment. As we do see both of the undead players going in towards the Flame Skulls once again. So, continue to set up into that. Both players are on the undead side of things, are going in towards their Seeping Corruption upgrade, which increases the damage over time ability on the Flame Skulls, and also on some of the units called the Shadows, which we haven't actually seen yet. They weren't teched up into last time around. Eon Blue is going to throw down another barracks. He's gone straight to... Actually, Eon Blue is just going for like a night rush. So he's just gone straight to stables. So no slowing down at all here for Eon Blue. Really, if you look at the units tab, you can see the difference, right? He's on half the spearmen of his opponent. But that is really because, again, he's teched up quickly. Now, Hate Me last game just went into double barracks and then not really much else. This game, Hate Me is going to change it up a little bit. And he is going to go straight into the... He's going to actually this exact same setup that Eon Blue is going for. So that second barracks now on the way up. That's very interesting to see. Again, also, once again, Hate Me did play the tank spec. Eon Blue playing the tank choice as well. And both the undead players playing the undead choice. So, again, Knights benefit from being tanky. The Spearmen benefit from being tanky. So, typically, the units we've seen out of House Reaper have absolutely been the units which benefit from being tanked so far, which makes a lot of sense. Well, yeah, the units from Cube are the ones that kind of benefit from damage upgrades. So you can see kind of the interaction between the players here. We don't see these guys playing we don't see these guys playing an opening where, or playing kind of they're working together to build the right composition. You've got you've got the human race who are building into their tanky front lines, while the Flame Skulls are going to sit back and deal damage from the background for the undead, as we are going to be seeing again. Just groups being cleaned up. Again, Cube up to level 4 here early on, and is out creeping the Berlin Esports team, who are coming around this bottom side. Holy Hit has quite a lot of units up, by the way. Quite a lot of units up at the moment for Holy Hit. As you just see, Cube is doubling up though. The Flame Skull numbers are pretty crazy actually. So, again, differences in players. What do we have going on? Have you seen any other tech choices being made? Eon Blue is, I mean, both of these players here are expanding. That is something that we've got going up for the other team as well. So both players expanding. There's a Pyre down here. So a Pyre is actually a defensive structure that the undead can make, and that is something that we haven't really seen much of because we've not really seen any super aggressive builds or openings from players. And as we haven't seen very many aggressive openings, there hasn't really been very much use to build the defensive structures at home. So we haven't really seen much of that just yet here, as we do have units from Hate Me gathering up. And again, we're having a bit of a contest on the bottom side of the map. Both players looking to clean the creep down here, or clean up the creeps down here. Again, just going to jump around the bases a quick little bit and see what we've got coming up. So Holy Hit is really quite happy just on, again, 2 of his initial building units, and then the Arcane Nexus, which just allows him to build the Bone Skulls. As Undead, you have to go Arcane Nexus before you can tech into anything else. There's not much else you can do. We're actually going to see a bit of a fight, as we do see Eon Blue chasing down Hate Me. Hate Me is going to get away. Oh, nice catch right there. That's really nice. The Fiery Change, that was on the Spark Mage ability. That's a switch up from Hate Me. Playing the Paladin last time, didn't have that route in play. Had the Paladin this time and put it straight to work. That Fiery Change chains routing units and allowing them to escape up the right-hand side of the map when it looked as though Berlin Esports were about to make something happen there. So really well done out of our TK Esports team. Hate Me especially, using the right ability at the right time. I like to see it. Now, we haven't seen a lot of units that can heal being brought into play at all just yet, so very intrigued to see if we see any more of that eventually coming up. Cube is only working on one single Desecrated Battleground, so a little bit less production than we see for Holy Hit on the other side. And Cube is going into a Boneyard, so we are going to start seeing a tech choice from the Arcane Nexus. So the Arcane Nexus has to come down after Desecrated Battleground. And from there, you have 2 choices. You either go into a Corrupted Spire Shard or a Boneyard. Now, the Boneyard is going to open up a very interesting choice of units. They're called the Naga Deathbound, and they are like a siege unit. So you can actually tell them to fire in a certain position, and they will just fire and like cover a ramp, cover an area. And that's going to be really cool if we get to see those. We could also be seeing, if he goes beyond the Boneyard into one more tech structure, the Labyrinth. If we go into that Labyrinth, that's also tech structure, and that allows a unit called the Minotaur Skeletons to come up, and they're just very kind of tanky melee units. I'd be very surprised if we saw those Minotaur Skeletons, considering that Cube is playing a DPS character at the moment, whereas Hate Me, whereas for example Hate Me is playing the tanky character, he should be getting the tanky units up, and the Knights kind of fill the role of the Minotaur Skeletons. So again, when you're working together in this 2v2, it really is Cube building into the damaging unit. So absolutely expecting to see a Naga Deathbound here in the near future. We don't believe we have any tech furthering out from Holy Hit, as he has mined out of his main base, by the way. So the importance of that natural or the second base being taken is quite high. You can see the workers transferring over, and that's why these guys are just defending over in this position, making sure their bases will come up. Holy Hit mining down on this bottom side as well. So he's actually up to 3 bases already. As we do see Hate Me and Cube are both just stuck on this base, on these bases up here. There we go. Hate Me going to start expanding a bit further. Cube's actually long distance mining from the center here. Not sure if he was intending to build something, as we see Hate Me being caught. Oh, this is meant to be a good fight for Hate Me, but that's a lot of AoE damage, and he loses a lot of his units, and he couldn't go up to the top. He was kind of forced off. Now this is a good fight for Eon Blue, because again, with the damage attacks and the armoring of these units, he's going to be able to jump and do a lot of damage to these Flame Skulls. However, the ability is not going great for Eon Blue just yet. He did throw down a Fiery Chains to lock these units in position. And you can see Cube, he's activated the Hungry and Flame, so he's been able to increase the damage output of these Flame Skulls. And he is starting to turn this around. A Death Blossom coming down from Holy Hit down here and activating. Does a lot of damage. And Cube now Fiery Chain, but is there any follow-up? We have the Flame Skulls on the bottom side as Hate Me decides to back away. Cube has a lot of low health units here. That's a Fireball coming out of Eon Blue, and it will land. Now ultimates are available, and we're going to be seeing a huge Vortex coming down, and that's going to pull units in. It does damage over time, and Cube and Hate Me are in trouble. Hate Me falls, and Cube is running away. He loses his hero, and that's big experience here from Holy Hit and for Eon Blue. A lot of units going down in this fight. A lot of units going down in this fight. It really was close, because honestly, at the very end here, you only have, what, like 3 Flame Skulls and Holy Hit on pretty low HP? So, and I mean, look at Eon Blue's HP as well, also super low. So this was really, really close to going the other way. But I have to say, I loved Eon Blue. What we didn't see from Hate Me, unfortunately, was we never really saw him throwing down his own, what's it called? The Ember Storm, where that kind of fire vortex, which does so much AoE because it's your ultimate. And that really did change the tables for Eon Blue towards the end there. The Fireball followed by the Ember Storm, a lot of damage, Fiery Change to make sure that units couldn't run out of it. Really nicely done. And now we just see, I mean, players will build up once again a little bit, but it will be XP advantage to Eon Blue and to Holy Hit. And they are also able to keep active and stay active on the map, which is obviously pretty cool as well, being able to stay active on the map and so on. And as we do see the players just continue to expand. I mean, being active on the map, it gives you expansions, right? Now, Hamey's got this expansion going down up here, but Cube is going to be in some trouble soon. He's got... Actually, I didn't realize, but these are actually rich mines, so they actually have more resources on them. Didn't realize that, so that's pretty cool to notice. Oh, here's a Naga Deathbound from Cube. So this was what he was teching up into previously when we talked about this Boneyard. I really love this unit. It was very fun to play around with earlier today. So very intrigued to see what it does in a fight. It is starting to move away from... the idea of kind of these Flame Skulls, which we've seen being pretty dominant up until now. By the way, Holy Hit is missing the upgrade to make these Flame Skulls explode, the volatile magic. So missing out on that. We actually don't have an upgrade tab in the game just yet, so it's hard to check out what's going on in that regard. Holy Hit, what's Holy Hit building now, actually? Holy Hit is teching up a little bit. Holy Hit also has a Boneyard, actually, so he's going into his own Naga Deathbound. So we are seeing a little bit of a higher tech set of units here to start this off. Alright. Again, I mean, you just see Eon Blue is just solo creeping up in the top left, just farming up some levels. Again, they have the XP kind of advantage from winning the previous fight, that upper level. And if Eon Blue can get these guys, get them up to level 8 before the next fight, that would be huge. Now, again, what we haven't really seen a lot of on either side is any sort of real healing out of any of these players. So just to quickly cover what can heal, for House Rupar, there is a Cleric, which comes off of the Temple, which is a tier 2 kind of tech structure. It has just a straight-up heal that it can throw down. You can also upgrade it to be able to remove harmful effects from friends or positive effects from enemies. So, Clerics, we'll see kind of maybe them in the future. They're definitely the kind of the source of healing from the human side of the table. On the undead side of the table, when it comes to healing, there is a Banshee, which comes off the Corrupted Spire Shard, which is the other side of the tech tree to the Boneyard. So instead of the Boneyard, you could have thrown down a Corrupted Spire Shard, and you still can, even if you have a Boneyard. It's just obviously expensive to build up everything. And there's an ability called Forlong Song, which is basically like an AoE heal that goes off every now and then. So there is healing available on both sides, but neither of them, or none of the players going for that just yet, which means that when units are damaged, they're very damaged. We also don't have the Paladin in play, which has quite a lot of healing abilities. So that's the Fiery Chains going off. And there is going to be the Ember Storm as well. Oh my god, everything is just caught up, and there's an Ember Storm on the other side. Oh my god, units are also... That's a lovely Ember Storm. The Fiery Chains going off. And now we do see the Horrid Decays being set off. And that was a really nice Horrid Decay, though, out of Holy Hit. It got hit by his Death Blossom, which meant that it blew up into a larger area for more damage. And he did a lot right there as Cube is going to start running backwards. But he is being chased. You can see the Knights coming around the top side and looking for that final hit. Cube will lose his hero again. And even more experience going the way of Holy Hit and Eon Blue. It was close, though, because Eon Blue's and Hate Me's hero went down as well. So it was actually only Holy Hit's champion to remain standing And this Wraith, though, will go forwards because it's not just the Wraith, it's also these, you know, Knights. It's also these couple of Naga Deathbound. They've been firing away during these games, and man, look at the low health unity of Hate Me, who actually only has 3 very low health Knights. Where are the heroes at? When are they coming back online? In the next few seconds for Hate Me. But Cube doesn't actually have his hero back for 20 seconds here, so Holy Hit will get some damage done. Going after the Boneyard, trying to stop the Naga Deathbound production. So this is really cool. So what you saw there, that ability was the Naga Deathbound, where it can siege up a certain area rather than having to attack a unit. There's the ability from the Undead player, where you can use your main base to summon zombies to defend rather than mine more. Again, another nice Horror Decay going down. There's the Ember Storm, though. Good fiery change as well as Hate Me makes the play to try and turn this around. It just feels like there's not quite enough units. The Knights will just about survive, and Cube was just a few minutes late to the party, and so unfortunately, well, it's not over yet. You know, we still have Holy Hit on very low health and still trying to go back in. Again, good play with the Naga Deathbound, so you're able to get some damage onto Cube as well. Feels like Holy Hit has to back away, though. Hate Me will chase them off. Eon Blue pulling back his Knights, some of them on very low HP. As we go back. And again, just double checking to see if there's any other structures being added on here to mention. Not really, I would say. This is a base that was taken here by Cube that will now go down. So Eon Blue and Holy Hit just retreating. They still definitely have the unit advantage. Another fiery change dropping down. An Ember Storm, though, out of Eon Blue. And a Fireball drops on top of them as well. Hate Me takes a lot of damage in this to begin. And there's the Horror Decay dropping down. And oh, Holy Hit runs through it. And that's a mistake. He will fall. And Holy Hit loses his hero here for no real reason. Just running through that AoE. Was just a bit too eager to chase. Eon Blue has a lot of units to work with here as well if he wants to keep pushing forwards. But not looking good at the moment. That's in the chat, by the way, saying the buildings look very cool. I love the art style in these buildings, especially the undead ones. Like this one looks so sick. This like Bodhi steak. Oh, it looks so cool. You know, I honestly, I feel like I'm just falling more in love with the undead race. I've been on a bit of an undead hype since I tried them out this morning. Still on the undead hype. Not gonna lie. Well, this is problematic here as we do have. Well, there's actually a Pyre that should be targeted first because that's a defensive unit. But it is going to be Eon Blue attacking these bases. These are the rich bases as well, so you kind of really need to keep these up. Otherwise, you're losing a lot of your mine. In fact, Cube will be mined out if he loses this base. He doesn't have anywhere else on the map to mine from. So this is a very important position for Cube to try and defend. Hate Me's coming in from the left-hand side, but his hero, the Spark Mage, is already very low. Going to be tough to make anything work out as we see Cube coming in from the bottom side, getting a bit more damage dealt. Fiery Chains will drop down. Hate Me is doing his best to clean up these Knights, and he is slowly getting there. Knights are weak to magic users because heavy armor takes bonus damage from magic. And so if anyone is going to clean up those Knights, it absolutely is going to be the Spark Mage. And that is Hate Me cleaning up, and both of the heroes from our Berlin Esports are going to be cleaned out. Holy Hit actually was maybe already dead and has already come back home. Cube lost his as well in that. I actually didn't notice that. Still getting a little bit used to some of these things going on the screen, guys, so. Well, I mean, you still got to really like it for Holy Hit and Eon Blue, Berlin Esports. They are max level now. Level 10 is the max level your heroes can get to. Eon Blue's a little bit away from max, about 120 experience, against level 8s from TKA Esports. So TKA definitely in a bit of trouble in that regard. There is a couple of creep camps available, though. And if TK can find some time to maybe creep up this top side of the map, the top left-hand corner, get some extra experience, that could go a long way to helping out. As Holy Hit and Cube, what if they both just started at the same time? Is that just another base? I believe that's another mausoleum that they've both just got going for themselves. I mean, Cube absolutely needs an expansion. Yeah, it is just a mausoleum on the way up. So mausoleum on the way up, and it's just, again, the main base to mine from. Hate Me on Eon Blue, both just building Knights at the moment. Eon Blue has the Armored Warhorse upgrade as well, which just comes off of the stables. It's a pretty typical upgrade you're going to get if you play Knights to any real extent because, well, you know, it gives the Knights more damage. And actually, Hate Me doesn't have the Armored Warhorses upgrade, which means that straight up his, it just means that his Knights are actually just weaker. They're just worse than Eon Blue's. So from the very start here, that's actually pretty problematic, as we do see a little bit of poking and prodding this bottom right-hand side. It's Holy Hit that is mining this bottom right, and It's obviously pretty huge for these guys. Berlin Esports really able to just take so much of the map at the moment. As Eon Blue mines on the left side, uncontested. Holds this tower as well, so he is able to keep some vision going for himself. It's absolutely TK Esports that need to make some magic happen. If we just look in the units tab quickly, I mean, Hate Me actually only has, well, 2 knights now because they're actually going down. It's a bit of a fight over here. Cube loses his hero, and with the hero going down here from Cube, it just feels like a continuation. I mean, actually, Cube has nothing. He has a single Flame Skull, his hero, and workers that can't even really mine. Okay, he's getting a bit of mining over here. They haven't really had the resources tab up all that much, but I guess the supplies tell the story a little bit at the moment. You can see that there's, Holy Hit and Eon Blue have 105 supply between them. Hate Me and Cube have 51, 52 now or so. Bit of a difference. As we're going to be seeing the Wraith here coming around the top side and trying to see what else is going on. Another basic Cube going down. I mean, again, it's just denial of economy, and we really do see Cube and Hate Me being choked out of the game, essentially. If you can't mine, you're in trouble. Love this from Hate Me. He's actually going to find the workers over here. He should be able to kill these. Hate Me. Don't make friends with the enemy, Hate Me. Okay, there we go. He's going to start going after the... I mean, the base is going to take a lot of time to get rid of. Would have been better to kill the workers first, but... I mean, these bases over here are in trouble as well. Both Eon Blue and his teammate Holy Hit are in position up here. They're both level 10. And it looks as though Hate Me and Cube might just be accepting that this is kind of over. They don't have a lot left over at the moment. As we do see, again, their forward base is being taken down. Hate Me going to be coming into the center of the map, as will Cube here, to try and push away these players. But again, they're losing their last little bits of economy, so they need a work of art here in terms of an engagement. If they don't take down all of this and counterattack and do some pretty devastating damage, they're in trouble. And how on earth are they going to take this down? They have barely any units. They have heroes that are underleveled in comparison. It is absolutely a Berlin Esports 2-0 that we're looking at the moment here. And they just look good in both these games. I mean, Eon Blue again, sticking to the Knights. That's a good Fiery Chains. It's in a good Ember Storm. It's a really powerful combo. And that's also going to be the Horror TK going in with the Death Blossom. Really good combo out of TK Esports. It's absolutely what they needed. And even then, it's not quite enough just yet. And I see a Fireball coming down a little bit too late, though, maybe. I mean, there's the fear to push the Knights away. But Cube loses his hero. Again, the Wraith going down. And then Fiery Chains to try and keep Eon Blue at bay. But GG well played is called. Cube will tap out of, so will Hate Me as well. And that will be our players falling away. Is Holy Hit and Eon Blue to take the first ever series in the Undead Champs from A Year of Rain. We're going to get the guys on Discord to talk about the game in a few moments' time. So we're going to get some updates on that in just a couple of moments. So again, we're just going to have one best of 3 per week. So yeah, we're only going to have one series a week, a best of 3 every week. But it'll be very cool to see how players develop, especially when teams come back. So it's going to be 2 weeks until we see these two teams play again, and not going to play against different opponents. It'll be very cool to see what they do to change up their strategies to develop a little bit differently as well, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. Do you guys in the chat have any questions? As I'm just going to double check the Discord. This game is going to be showcased at Gamescom as well, by the way. And I also have, I can also tell you, so this is going to be at Gamescom. If you're at Gamescom, obviously go check it out. There's also beta.ayearofrain.com where you can register for the beta, potentially. So go check that out, beta.ayearofrain.com. We're going to get some interviews with the winners here. and we'll get the guys there in a second. Any questions in the chat? Let's see. Is the game going to change during the tournament? Yeah, like I say, I mean, even I know the tournament only started today, but yesterday they added in a whole new race. I can't say for sure that it's going to change, but I don't think they're going to hold back from changes over the next few weeks. When is the game going to release? Like I said, you can sign up to the beta at beta.ayearofrain.com. Any other questions in the chat before I go and talk to the guys? I'll take a few more questions afterwards. I'll take a few more questions after the interview as well if you guys have anything else to ask here. So let's jump into the interview channel and see what these guys have to say.
Also du kannst ja auch deine Meinung sagen. An sich ist es ja so. Hey Wardy.
How's it going?
What's up?
How you guys doing? You feeling good?
We're really happy.
Yeah.
You're the first ever players to ever win a streamed match of A Year of Rain.
Wait, didn't they already have one testing tournament?
It wasn't a tournament.
Streamed. It wasn't streamed.
It wasn't streamed. It wasn't. It was just like you could go play the game. I think.
Oh, I didn't realize.
You know what, Ian Blue? Stop trying to take down your accomplishment here. You know, this is going to be talked about for years to come. You know, when A Year of Rain is, taking over Dota 2's international, you can say, hey, I was there at the start,
Yeah.
I mean, how do you guys like the game? Like, how does it feel? How much have you played? Tell me a bit about your experience so far.
So Holyhead has played yesterday in the evening quite a bit. So he has a little bit more experience, so he should start.
Yeah, honestly, like the first thing that I noticed is that the game just feels good to play. Like that's always the first thing that I look for especially when I play an RTS, because coming from like an RTS background, it's like, okay, does this feel good? Like, does moving my units feel good? And it does. Yeah. And now that the new race is out, and that is much more a lot of interesting mechanics there, like a lot of, for example, macro mechanics and everything. I just find really fascinating.
Yeah, we had a bit of a chat about this just chatting before, right? Where the new race, the Undead, feels like it's got a lot of cool different bits and pieces. Where like I feel like the human race at the moment is very like, you got your archers, you've got your knights, your tanks, and whatever. And you got some mages and some abilities, but like, oh my god, like the undead, it's like spells combo with each other. You can revive units when you get kills for a while.
Yeah,
it just feels like there's so much potential with undead right now. Like it feels very good. It feels like it's almost hard to appreciate because there's so much to figure out.
Yeah, but the mage of humans, mage is so insane.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
I mean, I saw a good few fiery chains into Ember Storm combos going down. You guys just have so much AoE on that mage, right? I mean, you've got the ultimate is an AoE. You can root them into an AoE. The kind of first ability, the fireball, also does AoE. I mean, you're literally just like a nuke machine.
So and then the mage is also really good just for the creeps in the start, because you have the elemental that tanks quite a bit of damage. I realized that when I tested it earlier, and just like, well, so you have 3 spells, but the elemental, it just can tank the whole damage during the whole fight.
I do want to ask you guys about that quickly, because you guys decided to split up early on to take different creep packs. Did you think that was the best way? Because the other team, I don't know if you know, TKA Esports, they were going around together. Do you think there's a efficiency in that? Because they did seem to out-level you guys.
Honestly, I was expecting them to do that after the first game, because in the first game we noticed that they were indeed like levels ahead of us. And we had a game plan going into the game, and we decided to not stray away too far from that, especially in the early parts. And it honestly feels, I think, going together might be the better option, just because of the leveling. So yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I also feel like when you go together, I think one of the big things I noticed was that the TKA Esports, it just felt like their heroes were always higher health. And so I was saying, especially in the first game, they just had like a ton of units because they never really lost anything. Their heroes were high health. They absolutely had like a window where they maybe could have attacked and maybe like really punished you guys for being kind of low health on your heroes, for example. So, I mean, obviously so much to figure out and so on.
Especially with the buff in the middle, we were really scared at that moment when they had the buff, and we were like, okay, we just have to stay defensive and like, wait them out.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even talk about the buff in the middle. I think I threw so much information in everyone's faces. But yeah, you're right, because they took down that boss in the center. And do you know what the buff gives exactly?
50% more damage it was. And
yeah. Okay, so it's
that
pretty
was
mental.
crazy. But on the other hand, when we were watching the fight, because we had the observatory, was like, well, one of them lost all their spearmen.
Yeah, and Hate Me died as well. He lost his hero, so.
Oh, we didn't realize that.
Yeah, I think he did.
That's a good
It
reason
might
for
not
not
have.
to engage.
There was a
as well.
couple of times when he lost his hero to creeps, and I believe it was one of the times in the center. So.
Oh, that's rough.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's very cool. I think there's obviously a lot to be figured out when it comes to creeping and so on. Like, I mean, you guys are primarily. Do you guys ever play Warcraft before rather than StarCraft, or are you guys always just been StarCraft players?
So I started out with StarCraft 2. I know a little bit about Warcraft 3, but I never played it. And yeah, so my background in creeping and like lower or like more micro focused RTS is just not there.
Yeah, basically the same. I started with StarCraft 1 and then StarCraft 2.
I'm really interested to kind of get some Warcraft guys playing a bit, to really kind of see what they feel about the creeping, because I'm the same, right? I started with StarCraft 2 in like 2011 or something. I didn't play Brood War even. And so for me, like the concept of creeping is very interesting, and it felt like, for example, in the first map, you guys just creeped for like 8 minutes, and then it just sort of became like a bit of a positional fight because the creeps don't come back or anything, right? So
exactly,
you just kind of you cleared out the map and then you just looked for fights. I just wonder how different that would play out, kind of with people who maybe have a bit of a different plan or so. I guess like again, like I say, it's obviously very new. It's just maybe very easy to focus on just getting as many creeps as possible for that XP and stuff early. So yeah.
So what we realized on the first map as well, just like you said, is just there is no reason to attack after we cleared all the creeps. So there is just looking for a good position, and when we kind of could push them back into going back into their base with the 2 knights, that's when we tried to get a good.
You guys really had like the composition advantage there. We saw
saw
like a lot of knights from you guys, and I mean, you were playing like Knight Flame Skull, so I was telling the stream like the knights are very tanky, and the knights are actually really good against Flame Skulls. So in that first game especially, you basically just like, because they went for like Spearman Flame Skulls, and they just didn't have. It's like the Spearmen are basically just like worse knights in a way. Like they have the same kind of attack, the same armor, they just do less. So it kind of felt like you guys just had the composition advantage there. Have you played much around with going kind of the other side of the tech tree? Like, have you gone in towards any of the magic users, the clerics, or so on?
So I didn't do at all. As I said, I couldn't play yesterday, sadly. So I didn't get into a lot yet.
Yeah.
So if anyone played around with the spellcasters, it's only.
Yeah, I think since I've mostly focused on undead, in the second game we actually got to the siege units at least, so I was happy about that, showing off the siege unit.
Yeah, I actually love that unit, by the way. So cool.
They are so cool.
Yeah, like I was just saying, like you don't have to just attack where like there's a unit as well. You can just tell it, hey, keep attacking this ramp or something. It will just like attack that position. It's like, it's cool. Like that's what I mean. Like that's what I was just saying. With there's so much more interesting kind of units I feel for Undead at the moment. But at the same time, I've also not seen a bunch of the units on the other side of humans because no one ever seems to go there because knights seem pretty good. So
yeah, I think it's a lot about the economy as well. It's for me, it's really hard to see a window where it's like, okay, now I can take up. It usually always feels like, I want more units, and then it's upkeep. I don't want more units, and
right, because we got the upkeep mechanic too, like Warcraft. So yeah, it's kind of strange, I guess. It's just a lot to be figured out. It's gonna be
absolutely. Especially after just yesterday the patch and the new map came out, we were both a little surprised by the new race as well, because we didn't get ahead. We didn't get a heads up on that, but that was exciting because we were both yesterday like, well, let's just play Undead. That's going to be cool. So, but what we decided then, in general, is just okay. We try to get as far ahead in the tech tree as soon as possible at the time where just nothing is happening. So at the start, when you're creeping and just like moving out a little bit with the heroes, then there is very little to do for the other side to punish you. But afterwards, it's really just this positional battle, and we just didn't really think too far ahead of ourselves just yet, because when there's one thing we both know about RTS and like very basic way to win, because obviously we're here to win, then it's just like having a good clear plan and sticking to it, not trying to like adjust too much, and if we went too tech heavy or whatever, that could have gone wrong really, really badly, especially in the first map where they went a lot of tier 1 units.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
no, go ahead.
Also very map dependent, right? Because on the first map we have 3 bases.
Yeah.
That we can take. We can't take up. It's way too scary to take up there because
Right.
what if all of your
Especially
bases are gone?
by the way, your first base just mined out. I like went back and I was like, oh, there's nothing there. I feel in general the first map's just very small. I like the second map a lot more.
Yes.
I think the second map is kind of like definitely the sort of way to start playing towards. It felt a lot more interesting. It felt there was a lot more going on. There was a lot more different creep paths you guys could hit. So that was very cool. I was going to ask you quickly what you guys thought about the potential of scouting, right? Because I feel like we didn't see a lot of scouting much in these games. I mean, I know you were trying to take the watchtower and so on a lot, or maybe I missed it a little bit. Do you guys see anything in particular that you changed your strategy because of, or were you just kind of confident with the composition you guys were going for?
So, as I said earlier, we're just trying to stick to our plan, because just adjusting too much when you don't know too much about the game yet is just not very feasible, right? And then we decided, well, he's going for a bit more economy, so he needs the workers more, but I could still constantly push out workers, so I went out in the first map and sent 2 workers, one at the bridge, just to know when they're pushing.
Yeah.
Because if there's one thing where you can lose the game very, very quickly, it's just when you're unaware of where the armies are.
Yeah.
That's all really we looked out for. So also on the second map, I just went out and like sent a couple workers in the middle of the map. I think Holy hit it as well. So they're not taken by the all army group, and so they're just standing there, and we know ahead of time when something is wrong.
Because it definitely feels like there's potential. I mean, for like, there's definitely counters in the game, is what I was trying to tell people, and just kind of make clear because when you see, for example, you can see very early on, like if someone was able to scout that, for example, you were going knights, for example. If someone was able to see that, they could start attacking towards, like, again, some magic users, for example, and that maybe changes the entire pacing of the game. So, yeah, very cool. I don't really have much else to ask you guys. I'm very excited to see how the game develops. Very excited to see kind of how your play develops as well as we kind of go week by week and you guys figure more things out. Like, it's going to be crazy to watch. I mean, I'm throwing in a lot of StarCraft references, but you think back to way back when in StarCraft, when it was like people just like, yeah, I'm going to go 1 base 7 Rax Reaper, and you think about where we're at now, right? Like there's so much complexity.
14 pool,
yeah, exactly.
14 pool,
I mean,
14 gas, and no expansion, but also don't attack.
yeah, like it's crazy when you think about how much the game can develop just as you get it figured out. Actually, the last thing I want to ask you guys about, and I'll let you go. What do you think about the whole selecting a role at the start of the game? I know that you guys both games played tank and damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do you just think that's a good combo? Units in front to tank, and then the damage and just in the back. Obviously, did you play around with support much, or?
It was a bit of a solution for the way we wanted to shape our economy, because you have 3 bases early on. I decided, well, he can take the base and I will just stay on 1 base. And then we just went on with, well, the damage dealers are a bit more useful if they have a bit more economy, so we can. That's just kind of what we went with. I don't think we played too much around with support just yet. I think I chose it twice by accident, and there was like, sure, you have some more healing, but because we didn't think it through too much, that's why we couldn't really play around too much with it.
I think if you play support, you kind of have to go probably like paladin and some sort of like cleric army, and then you play
clerics,
and then maybe you can get away without a tank, maybe because you're healing the damage dealers and you don't need that front line. I don't like. There's so much to play around with. It's just something else I wanted to bring up because obviously there's going to be so many options because each race has 3 heroes, and then each hero could be any one of those. And while it's kind of a minor difference, again, it adds to that complexity. It's very, very interesting. Also, guys, any final words? Please go ahead.
Well, no, I think we are just really happy to be part of this. I was really excited when Naruto hit me up about it, and it's just a fun experience for me as well, where I said earlier, or where I would say I don't like other RTS too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fun experience to be at the very start of something where everything is still developing. I can't say for sure that I will love this game or not because it's still very early in development, but being part of this development process, we're both really, really happy to be part of this and very excited and very happy we won the first map match.
Awesome.
Match rather.
Holy Hit, any final words?
Nah, perfectly said, honestly.
Awesome.
Game is a lot of fun and feels great. And that as long as for me, first impression is really important. And if the technical alpha already makes a good first impression, it can only get really good from there, honestly.
That's what I'm thinking as well. I'm like, when I'm observing, like, man, I really wish I could press this button to like pick up the production tab. I'm like, well, you know what? It's okay because it is technical alpha. It'll fix.
Yeah.
So it's it's like when you think about, I guess what I'm just saying is that the things I want to be fixed are like quality of life rather than gameplay almost right now. It's like, you know, I feel like it's not like I'm like, man, I wish they'd make these units run properly. So as an extreme example, so yeah, it feels very good. I'm very excited for other people to get to play as well because again, you can potentially check out signing up to the beta soon. So beta.ayearofrain.com. But yeah, I'm gonna say see you later to you guys. I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Do you play in a couple of weeks? Or is it?
Yeah, we have a bit of a break now.
Oh, you guys have a huge break because you play.
We have a huge break because we got a bit unlucky with the timing because I'm a week in Denmark and right afterwards he's flying to Montreal. So yeah, that's why we have a bit of a break. But it doesn't matter.
So you guys don't play until like September again.
But we have a lot of room to watch the other guys play now and play around now. So this is going to be exciting as well. Where the next run for us, we have a lot more to prepare off of.
Cool. Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much, guys. I'll see you in like week 4 or something. I see you guys again. And obviously, best of luck practicing and stuff like that. So have fun. See you guys there.
See ya.
See ya.
All right, guys. That was Berlin Esports, Eon Blue, and Holy Hit, the winners of the first series.